And some of you might recognize the name on this one because they did previously release another Trailblazer game called the John Muir Trail. What's cool about this is that although these games do share some similarities, especially in theme, they do play quite a bit differently from each other. I did previously cover this one when it launched, so I will roll that previous footage for you, but first I'll just let you know how the Arizona Trail plays, and this one is a little bit heavier than the previous one. But similarly to John Muir Trail, in this one you still are trying to gather different sights and experiences, but the way that this one rewards you for that is that there's going to be different goal cards that players are trying to achieve, and these are going to be triggered at certain points in the game, and if you fulfill that goal, you're going to be gaining that amount of victory points at that point in the game. There's actually 8 different legs in this trail, with each of them acting as an individual round, and there's going to be a bunch of different cards and tiles out available to the players to try and collect, but many of these won't be replenished until the start of the following round. All these cards have some different effects, like these different creature cards can grant you with some special abilities or allow you to get rid of certain ailments that you might have. Well, these sight cards can actually move you up and down different tracks, and they can also grant you with different types of income that you'll be able to use to purchase other cards or tiles, or just use to try and complete various objectives. But this is a worker placement game, and the workers represent the different locations that you're going to be visiting at that point in the trail, and you're going to be placing them out on the different regions in order to get that benefit. A cool thing here with these polyominoes is that you'll be able to place them onto your own personal board, gaining different rewards for the different patterns and items that you are able to cover. I am just giving you the broad strokes for this one because there are some different types of tiles and cards that you'll be able to discover when you actually do try out this game. But the way that the scoring actually works in this game is that there's going to be 2 different tracks that you're concerned with, and they move opposite to each other around the perimeter of the board. And these are called gold and grit, and there's going to be different ways they can move up either of these tracks, but they're going to move opposite to each other, and once they cross over each other, that's the point that you can start gaining victory points. You do have to reach this point to be eligible to win the game, but then of course it's the player with the most victory points at the end of the game that does win the game. And of course you'll be determining that once you do reach the end of the trail. Like I said, they did also release another Trailblazers game, but these do play fairly different from each other, so if you're interested to know more about the previous one and see which one is more suited to you, I'll go ahead and roll that previous footage for you now. And this is a competitive game where players are going to be scoring victory points throughout the game, but then also scoring points at the end of the game based on set collection as they try to complete the trail while exploring different destinations, admiring different sites along the way, engaging in daily encounters, managing natural and personal resources, and then also strategically using gear in their backpack in order to give them certain benefits along the way. Each round starts with players choosing a resource card from the display, which is going to grant them some resources that they can spend later in the game. After that, players take turns spending their action tokens, which they can use to do things like move along the main trail, gain or spend different trail or field guide cards, which can grant you different resources, which they can spend using another action to visit different hard-to-reach places to earn that location card. Players will be able to collect different trail cards depending on what they can see from their current location, and these different cards can score victory points in different ways. Players have limited space in their backpack, so as you gain new items throughout the game, you're also going to want to be using them to get the most out of all your actions and all your available resources, because if you're not able to reach the end of the trail, then you're not eligible to win the game. But if you're running low, you might also be able to spend an action to visit a nearby lodge and restock on your supplies. The game continues to play like this until the end of the game, and the player with the most victory points at the end wins the game.